If you want to get the best of information on the Nigerian economy, from the manufacturing industry to technology, the energy sector, oil and gas, security, and lots more, join us on Focal Point on DBN Television, showing every Tuesday from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. on your choice station. You can follow the conversation on facebook.com/DBN Focal Point and tweet at us at DBN Focal Point. You can watch Focal Point on your device by logging on to youtube.com/DBN Television and clicking the playlist Focal Point. For sponsorship and participation, send us an email dbnfocalpoint@gmail.com or call 0706 5471 171. Focal Point on DBN Television. Our focus is clear.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for staying with us on today's edition of Focal Point on DBN Television. I am Sandra Ukuru. Today I have with me a very important figure in the society. He is the managing director of a co-electricity distribution company. Glad to have you join me today to talk about issues affecting electricity supply in Lagos State.
Thank you.
Yes,
you are welcome.
Yes, thank you. So let's start this conversation by us taking an introspect into what you do here at a co-electricity distribution.
Yeah, thank you very much. A co-electricity distribution company distributes electricity to the southern part of Lagos. That is the area covered by Lagos Island, Lekki, Ajah, up to Lekki Peninsula, and on this side to Agbara in Ogun State. So we covered that area. Eco Electricity Distribution Company is one of the 11 distribution company recently privatized by the federal government. And what we do here is to ensure that when we receive electricity from the national grid, we distribute same to our customers, our esteemed customers all over the place. And we make sure that we do that in a safe and most economic manner. So in essence, that is what we do on a daily basis.
Yes, over the years we've had several reports inadequate supply of electricity, and up till this present administration where we have boost in the regularity of the supply of electricity. What will you justify to have been the cost to the stability of supply of electricity now?
Yeah, thank you very much. Before the advent of this new administration, for the past 2 or 3 years now, the sector have been plagued with problems of vandalism of gas pipeline and inadequate supply of gas. It was so rampant that time that whenever they fix any vandalized pipeline, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks after, they will go back. And it has been like that until this new administration came in. And I think they put measures in place to stem the tide of vandalism of gas pipeline. And in addition to that, there are more gas made available to the power company to generate power. Some of the generating company, the Gencos, they have also stepped up their activities. They have increased capacity. For instance, Egbe, they have moved from about 500 megawatts to about 1,100 megawatts. So, then there are other Gencos that are also stepping up their capacity. So, with this, we have a boost in electricity available on the national grid. On the distribution side, we have also been doing a lot. All the DISCO, we've been trying to rehabilitate our network, put more lines, put more transformers to reinforce the system, and taking care of all the problems on the network. Though we are still, the work is still ongoing, but the little we have done within the last 2 years that we came in, has been yielding dividends, for the customer, because we're able to evacuate more power from the grid to the customer. So that's the effect that you have seen lately. Before privatization, the power sector was neglected by government in terms of investment. There was no visible investment in the power sector for close to 30 years. So it was so bad that, I think the government looked at it that government didn't have enough fund, to keep the power company running. And the power sector is so capital intensive to maintain, to run, and they decided to now hand over to private people that will bring in their fund or source for fund and start to run it like a business. So in the past it was like social service, and that was why the improvement was not there, and the whole system was degenerating because there was no investment. So now the new owners, they want to run it as a business, and they are pumping in their money now, to make sure that all the issues that we have on the network are taken care of gradually. Of course, it cannot be done overnight. It's going to take us some time, but we have a performance agreement that we have signed with the Bureau for Public Enterprise, that in the next 5 years, we should be able to achieve a level of improvement that the customers will enjoy, and that's what we've been doing. We are spending a lot of money when it comes to, I'm now talking about EcoDisco. We have spent more than 10 billion naira since we came in of investors' fund, because banks are not giving out money now. So our investors here, they are looking at lighting up Lagos, and they are not looking at profit as at now. They want the whole system to stabilize and make sure that we improve on our services to customers. Customers are king, because the only commodity that we sell is to the customer. And when customers are happy, then they'll be able to pay for the electricity they consume. And we are trying to help in developing the economy of the country, because when you have electricity, the MDAs, all these small-scale industry will thrive. They will have electricity. They won't have to depend on their small generators and all the associated problems. That even the large industries too, they will be rest assured that they won't have to spend a lot of money and energy on maintaining their private generators.
And then the manufacturers.
So the manufacturers too. So when they have, because it's cheaper to have electricity through the grid than for them to run their own private power, because apart from the problem of apart from being expensive, more expensive than grid power, it's also the environmental issue are still there, to contend with. We have to look at that. So the manufacturers are now enjoying more electricity than they used to be.
Recently it was in the news that there's some Lagosians from the other side of it. I don't know if this is part of under your coverage, right? From the Ikorodu axis, they were out to complain that the tariff, being charged is more than their house rent. And people watching a program like this, these are some of the things they want to hear, organizations like this address. Now, being privileged to sit with you in this interview, would you like to give us a word to what it really is in comparison with the level of tariff being placed on the distribution of electricity?
First of all, let me say that the tariff we are charging now is non-cost reflective.
The report categorically stated that our house rent is 1,500 naira per month, and what we pay for electricity bills is 5,000 naira.
Well, it depends.
And additionally, sir, the report added that these are homes without the AC. These are homes that are restricted to maybe just a TV set.
When we get complaints like that, we go to the customer's premises to verify. It is not possible that people just pay arbitrarily. We don't do arbitrary billing. We do billing based, number one, if the customer has meter, we have no issue, functional meters. But if the customer does not have meter, we have a methodology of billing. We don't just bill arbitrarily. So we look at availability of supply on the transformer feeding the customer, on the line, feeding the transformer. And also we compare it with a customer having a meter, in the neighborhood of those that are being billed on estimation. So we try to balance it up. Even now, even with all that, we are still, our tariff right now is not covering, the level of the cost of taking, such power to the customer. The cost per unit is so low that it doesn't cover, all the things that we put into it for it to get to the customers. That was why we are asking for adjustment in tariff in line with the economic indices of the present time, because there's inflation, high inflation rate. Then we have dollar to naira rate that has gone up, right? Yeah. So we have so many things that are impacting on tariff, that because most of the equipment that we use in distributing power to the customers are imported. Most of them are imported, and we still have to compete with any other businesses. So in a way, right now the tariff is not cost reflective. In fact, we are paying. We have the lowest tariff in Africa, even if not in the whole world. We have the lowest tariff. You compare it with our neighbors in around here, in West Africa, in South Africa, everywhere. We have done that analysis, and we have seen that it is very, very low.
Electricity grew from few kilowatts used to serve the colonial masters in Lagos, Nigeria in the late 19th century to the Electricity Corporation of Nigeria, ECN, established by the Act of Parliament in 1951. A decade later, 1962, the Niger Dam Authority, NDA, was set up to develop hydroelectricity, which was merged with ECN to form National Electric Power Authority, NEPA, in 1972. The decline in electricity generation capacity in an ever-increasing population with no visible plan to commensurately increase generating capacity caused electric power demand to increasingly overshoot available supply. In the year 2000, the problem sent Nigeria into electricity supply crisis, which caused the Federal Executive Council in the year 2001 to approve the National Electric Power Policy, NEPP, which called for fundamental changes to ownership, control, and regulation of the power sector. The 2001 National Electric Power Policy, NEPP, actually set the roadmap for Nigeria's power sector privatization, but due to the bureaucracy in government, The policy could not be signed into law until 2005. The signed document became the Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2005. The ESPR Act 2005 translated the National Electric Power Authority (NEPA) into the newly incorporated Power Holding Company of Nigeria (PHCN), comprising of 18 separate successor companies that took over the assets, liability, and employees of the NEPA, and responsible for the 6 generation companies, 1 transmission company, and 11 distribution companies. Now, looking at issues of management, balancing what the government is doing and what the private owners are doing, what justification will you give to these 2 key managers?
Well, government has no business in running business. That's the first thing. They are not set up to run business. They are set up to provide enabling environment for business to thrive. And the way issues are managed in the government sector is quite different when it comes to business sector. Businessmen, they are looking at the cost. They are looking at efficiency. They are looking at services to the customer. So with that, I will say that it's better under private sector than to leave business for government to run. The only aspect of the power sector right now, the power value chain that is under government, is transmission company of Nigeria. The transmission company is not even run directly by government. They have a management company, Manitoba of Canada, that is managing transmission on behalf of federal government. So that is it. It pays for companies like this to be under private sector, because they will be able to to get funds, to look for funds, to keep the system running and to even do expansion. Like I said, I've told you, within less than 2 years, our investors have spent more than 10 billion of their own private fund. So government will not give any disco even 1 billion in a year, because we look back at what used to happen when the companies were under government. They appropriate, you go to National Assembly, they cut it down. Maybe you ask for 1 billion naira. At the end of the day, you don't get 100. Sometimes you don't even get anything in a year. So, and you keep running the system keep degrading and dilapidating and so on. So I think the best thing that has ever happened to Nigeria, the third best thing that has ever happened to Nigeria, is privatization of power. The first one is the independence. When we got our independence, that's the first best thing that happened to Nigeria. Then the second one is democracy, genuine democracy. So after that, privatization of the power industry, because all the power companies are coming out with creative ways of enhancing, the services to customer. They are looking at ways, to introduce technology to bring about efficiency in the sector. Like, for instance, in ECO now, we are proposing to automate our network, our line, so that at a place you can see what is going on everywhere. If there's a problem, you will see it real time, instead of sending people that will go through all this traffic situation and all that. So we are doing that. It will reduce downtime, it will improve efficiency, and the customers will be happy for it. Number two, we are also doing massive customer care programs that makes customers access to information or to report any problem very easy. We have several lines that customer can call 24/7 that they can report any fault or whatever, or make any comment or inquiries 24/7. In the government days, that one did not happen. We are also trying to have additional power from private companies that will set up generation company, plants, and sell to us directly, so that we can supplement whatever we are getting from the national grid. Because national grid will still take time for it to be, for us to get to where we are going. Right now, it's less than 5,000 megawatts. Hopefully, by next year we'll get to 6,000. But that's not what we need in the country. South Africa, with 45 million, people, they have more than 40,000 megawatts, and we are talking about less than 5,000 here for 170 million people. You can see the difference. So we need a lot of power in this country for the economy of the country to grow.
I know that amidst all these successes, you also have some challenges that are affecting the customers directly or indirectly, because as an organization, I know that there are certain things that will be setting you back from giving your desired wants to the customers whom you're serving, who are the kings. But let's take this break. When we return, we'll hear from you what these challenges are and how they are affecting the public, that is the services you provide to the public, and what measures your organization is taking to address these challenges. You're watching Focal Point on DBN television. When we return, what is more you here with us? I have engineer Oladele with me, discussing issues that are affecting our proper supply of electricity across Lagos State.
If you want to get the best of information on the Nigerian economy, from the manufacturing industry to technology, the energy sector, oil and gas, security, and lots more, join us on Focal Point on DBN television, showing every Tuesday from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. on your choice station. You can follow the conversation on facebook.com/DBN Focal Point and tweet at us at DBN Focal Point. You can watch Focal Point on your device by logging on to youtube.com/DBN television and clicking the playlist Focal Point. For sponsorship and participation, send us an email dbnfocalpoint@gmail.com or call 0706 5471 171. Focal point on DBN Television. Our focus is clear.